Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna go over board breakers, which are the best board breakers during this format. So, let's go over them. Herald of the Abyss. Herald of the Abyss is a very specific card against Kashtira. I don't recognize this card being good against a neuter matchup. So I would say this card is bad. Like, it's meh. It's not enough. Alpha is, for the same reason, it's a board breaker that lost its power Chaos, like House of Trident, because that's what Kashtira is right now. It's Trident Pass. And cards like these needs to be on the field in order to resolve. Or you need to have other Beast Warrior, but I don't recognize any other deck that is a Beast Warrior and runs Alpha, except for maybe 3 Brigade, but you know, it's not enough. Ride of Measure, we saw a lot of list stopping recently with this package, like Sprite, decklist and stuff. Even though I really don't like it, we have to give Caesar what's of Caesar. So I would say that this card is sometimes good, even though against Kashtira doesn't perform very well, because they banish top 8 from your deck, and if they banish Draco back, or if they banish Griffon, this engine gets a lot, and I say a lot worse. Book of Lunar Eclipse is a -1, basically. I'll say this card is not good at all. There are way better options against Kashtira. Chalice is a very good card in my opinion. I really like this card, to be honest. I think this card is, if it's not one of the best, I think it's like definitely one of the options to take in considerations, because it's like Imperm in this format, to be honest. Like, even though Imperm is way better or slightly better, and even though Imperm is slightly better than Chalice, I think Chalice is a valuable and option to take in consideration after Imperm. Like, I don't like cards like Mourner right now. I don't like Veiler. I don't like Nibiru.
Fired, Guan, Scran, get out of here, you moochers! That's right, keep moving!
You know what? Yeah.
Except you stay. Well,
So I kinda like a sort of a mix in between board breaker and HandTraps during this format. Like, as you can see, there are some runic lists that are playing HandTraps with evenly, or they're playing, you know, Kaiju and HandTraps. So I kinda like those sort of approach right now, and I think it's probably the best deck, especially because the best deck, the best deck that's Kashtira right now doesn't doesn't have a consistent hand board, because it usually depends on the amount of flex pot they draw, and 25% of the time they can lock 5. So I really don't want to take in account the lock 5, even though it might be very punishing, because people might build in order to lock 5. So it's all about reading your opponent mind in the next event. It's a meta call. Change of Heart is, in my opinion, one of the best board breakers. Like, it's in every side deck that involves Kashtira, or I would say it's also in Sprite. Like, having one more body, base negations, like, this card is broken. Cosmic Cyclone, in my opinion, it is the best board breaker right now. This card is amazing. This card is gorgeous. This card, it's every possible deck that is made. Like, against Branded, you can hit Branded Red. Against Kashtira, you can stop the field spell, or you can stop the continue spell, Birth. I think this card has so many applications that people sleeping on it is actually crazy. Sword of Concealing Light, this card makes literally no sense. Like, it's not like it makes no sense, it's like it's not good enough. 8 Runade, for the same reason, I would put this card in the Ass category. We saw this card being played in some decks in order to counter the Labyrinth strategy. This card is a very, very, very budget option. Like, it's definitely not it. Dark Hole, people are playing Goliath in the extra deck of Kashtira, and they attach it when they banish it with the Pot of Prosperity. This card is not horrible. It's not like ass, It's like something that I definitely would not even take in consideration. But I can understand why someone likes it, but it's definitely meh, in my opinion. It's definitely better than the other cards, like Book of Lunar Eclipse, Alpha, and Abyss, but it should be the top of meh, and maybe like at the bottom of sometimes good. It's something that I wouldn't even take in consideration. Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler is a card that right now I would say that's actually good. Like, people are trying to end on some crazy boards right now. Like, if they don't want to play Kashtira, they try to end on crazy boards, and it's also good against the Sprite. And I think having this card makes a lot of difference in a lot of matchups. I actually like this card a lot. Like, after Cosmic Cyclone, Dark Ruler is definitely my best option. Denko Sekka, it is sometimes good. Like, it's not. It is sometimes good, especially in decks that not require a normal summon. So definitely this card, don't sleep on it. Like, if your deck can run Denko Sekka, I would definitely play Denko Sekka. This card is broken right now in the decks that can afford it. Like, for example, Kashtira can afford this card, even though it's kind of an egg, but you can do it. Droplet, right now, it's definitely not the meta for Droplet, even though this card was popping off back in the days. Right now, during the Kashtira format, this card is just not as good as it's supposed to be, just cause of Arisers, because you cannot actually use it. Enemy Controller, I think Enemy Controller is very good in the decks that can afford it. It is, in my opinion, one of the best options. Book of Eclipse. Let's talk about this card. I hate this card. I actually don't like it. I will explain you why. Because if your combo doesn't pop off, this card is supposed to save you. Okay, so if you're main decking this card and you cannot pop off for whichever reason, this card is supposed to save you. This card does not, in any possible manner, save you. It's gonna let your opponent draw, and if your opponent plays HandTraps, you are out of here. Okay? I wanna be real with you. This card is not made for stall position. It's not gonna help you a lot. It's gonna be good when you can break your opponent's board and you have enough engine in order to, like, establish your board. But most of the times, like, it's not like you are playing alone. So I would say this card is sometimes good, but just because there are a lot of people playing it and it doesn't perform bad. But I really don't like it. Like, in my opinion, it's one of the worst ones. Like, I would say it's on top of the worst ones, but I will put it in sometimes good because, again, the card performed well in various deck lists, so I am trying to be less biased as possible. Exis and Core, this card, it's not for it. Like, especially against Kashtira, this card is only a huge neg in my opinion. It's not gonna help you. Entanglement, like, again, like, this card is not for it. It's not it. Like, just doesn't do a lot. Entanglement basically banishes a monster that your opponent controls until the end phase. So it is just a temporary removal. Doesn't do a lot. Evil Image. This card is broken. Like, on top of the best. The best of the best, my friends. The best of the best. This card, like, in my opinion, should be main decked. Because Evil Image post side doesn't get as much value as it does in the main deck of a deck. Because people are not, like, fully prepared for an Evil Image in the main deck. They are partially prepared, but post side they are gonna expect it. Feather Duster. I mean, Feather Duster is... and it is a very good card. I would put it in very good. Even though Cosmic Cyclone is much better than that. Ferry as a board breaker, it is very good too. I like Ferry as a board breaker. There are some decks that run it like Sprite. It is actually a valuable card. Lava Golem. The issue about Lava Golem, the issue about Rasfir mode. is the fact that your opponent does not end consistently on a full lock. And it is the thing, if you're playing against someone that's gambling with cash tira and they end on the full lock board, on they go for the Arise plus Shangri-La plus Diablosis, then this card like Lava Golem and Sphere Mode are gonna be very valuable. But if you're playing against a competent player, they're gonna go just Arise Pass with 2 flex spots. Set or in hand, because if they are running HandTraps. So against good players, Lava Golem and Sphere Mode, it's not it. But even against good players, they might work, because here is the thing. Cash tira does not have a consistent hand board. They have 25% that they have to lock you. They actually have to. Like, they draw too much engine, and if they end on a Rise Pass, it's like putting yourself in a coffin. You don't want to put yourself in a coffin. Who would do that? So that's why sometimes they have to go for it. And sometimes those cards are good. Engraving is not it. It's just not it right now. It's not doing a lot. Doesn't really work. Like, it's one of the worst cards right now. Kaiju, the best of the best. My brothers and sisters, the best of the best. I only got you the best of the best today. I think this card is actually very good. Like, there are so many main decks that play Kaiju, and it avoids also their win conditions. And also, like, the presence of Kaiju is also the reason why you don't see people playing. So, Kaiju are the main reason why you will not see Arrival right now. They, like, to be honest, in a format like this, having Arrival would be insane. But Kaiju, in order to counter Arise Pass, it's being main decked or side decked, and in my opinion, it's correct. Because, as I said, the end board of Cash tira is not consistent, and this card covers almost everything, even though doesn't really fully solve the problem as Lava Golem and Sphere Mode, but it's the most safe option, and in my opinion, playing safe is what you should do. And also, being in the meta prevents cards like Arrival being in the meta by the Cyber's strategy, prevents cards like Triart. Triart is also a very good card in order to counter Cash tira and in order to counter Branded. Then we got Kurikara. Kurikara is a very good card. Actually, I would also say it's not one of the best because it doesn't work against every other deck, but I would say it's on top of the very good cards. I love it. I would put it in the best if it was for me, but again, I'm trying to be as less biased as possible. So, from a conceptual standing point and from a meta review, I'll put this card in very good because not every deck can afford this card. Lightning Storm. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. So I was watching various deck profiles and I noticed something very strange. This. The dirtiness on his sleeves. Look at this. You zoom and the shit was dirty as fuck. So, yeah, let's focus on the black points on the card. I was like, so, Sebastian, you need to buy a new sleeve. So, SleeveChief.de that just released the One Piece box, One Piece sleeves, One Piece protection sleeves, the Gear 5-1. Look at these, how gorgeous they are. Look at the amazing design, how they cover the card perfectly. Do you see Luffy jumping on the attribute? And look also the attention to the details because they also choose Utopia. Utopia is a light attribute, and as you might guess, Luffy is going on the Gear 5, which is basically a light attribute. Because it's divine. It's not divine. Yeah, it is divine. It is divine, but, you know, lighty, you know, it's... And there we go. Look at this, the deck box. Oh my god! What an amazing design. Holy, he's laughing. Imagine you laughing at your opponent with this amazing deck box. There is no better product, my brothers and sisters. This is the finest product you will find online and only on sleeveshift.de. And then for the final product, the Playmat. The Playmat. Look at the moon, the shining moon. Ole, it's hollow. How can you say no to this? Imagine summoning your Rasphere mode on your opponent's board while you have this Playmat. It's just another feeling. You feel me? You summon a divine with a divine Playmat, with divine sleeves, with divine deck box. That's just another thing, you know, another feeling. Feels everything better. And I would suggest you, Sebastian, to buy product from sleeveshift.de and use the discount code GO5 to get a 5% discount. Lightning Storm is sometimes good. Then you would say, okay, Nash, but you put Feather Duster in very good. Yeah, I did, but this card is generically good. It's also main deckable. You would not main deck a card like Lightning Storm, and you can use it when you have cards face up on the board, and the restriction of these makes it slightly worse than this. So, on top, I would say. Mind Control. Mind Control is actually bad. Like, there is actually a reason for Mind Control being way worse than Change of Heart, because Change of Heart, you can attack with the monster, and then you can make Zeus, and then you say, okay, but Mind Control, you can use it to link summon. It's not the same thing, because one Change of Heart can out a Kashtira board when one Mind Control cannot. It's not the same thing. They are brothers, but different, you know? They are different brothers. They are not twins. I'll put it in meh. Like, I actually don't like this card right now. I think this card is not the same. Obviously, they can chain a Risart, target itself, but it's conceptually different. Why you would play a card like Change of Heart instead of a card like Mind Control? Again, it's for flexibility. It's for the line that gives you, that lead you to more way to out your opponent board. And Change of Heart just gives you the battle phase in order to bait one more thing when Mind Control does not. Book of Moon is, in my opinion, definitely one of the best cards right now. I love it. It's so flexible. This card was in the meta for so much time. Like, this card was always prevalent at some point during different metas. Like, we saw it during the God format, we saw it during the Dark Dragon, during the Perfect Circle format, we saw it like in different metas. Like, there were at least 5 metas that had this card popping off at a point. Like, the mechanic of booking monster, it's insane. And also because when you book a monster, it forgets that it was affected by effects and also reset its stats. Might be weird to think about a situation like this, but it's not as weird as you guys might think, because a card like this has some very gimmicky approach as well. Like, it's not only good on its own in order to stop your opponent and stall a position, because it doesn't have the same drawback of Book of Eclipse, but there are actually gimmicky situations in which this card shines. Like, for example, against Dark Ruler No More. If your opponent resolves Dark Ruler No More and you have Book of Moon set, and you have, for example, an Arisart on the board, you can use Arisart and chain Book of Moon, and it will forget that it was affected by Dark Ruler, and Arisart will resolve. Because again, like, the booking mechanic has a very specific thing, like, has a very specific ruling about that. The cards that are booked forgets that it was affected by lingering effect and stuff. and also resets the stats of the card. Like for example, booking a Baron de Fleur also reset back his own effect in order to negate a card on the board. So I love this card, not only for the gimmicky scenarios that like might present, but also because it's flexible when you need to stall a position, or when you need to be aggressive and to bait interruption, or in order to play around stuff like skill drain and stuff. When with Book of Eclipse you will have to book all the monsters, you can decide with Book of Moon to not booking all the monsters, and you can still try to OTK your opponent, which makes, in my opinion, a huge difference in terms of flexibility again. Murmur of the Forest. This card was nice against Flanders. Basically, this card books and bounce back a field spell. It's a normal spell though. I don't think it's good right now. I think it was good before, and also it was searchable with Trust. I don't think Trust is as good right now, because again, people are mixing HandTraps with the board breakers, also because of the presence of Trust. It's not like you can play only HandTraps, because otherwise Triple Tactical Talent comes back, Trust comes back. You don't want this to happen. And also so the reason why you don't see Bestials going on. So Murmur is not a good card right now. Pancratops, the same reason for Alpha, even though Pancratops in my opinion is slightly better. We could actually put Pancratops in sometimes good, just because it's not like Alpha that has to stick on the board. I might actually think even very good. Against specific deck, I might actually think that's very good. Maybe bottom very good, top sometimes good. I think sometimes good, because I don't see this card a lot in every side deck. I would say it's on top of sometimes good. I think I might think that, like, I might actually take this card more in consideration now that I think about it. It's probably bottom very good. Probably bottom very good. This card seems like actually valuable. Seems like a card that you would side against everything. I cannot think on top of my mind if I don't want to side this card. I think I like Punk a lot, actually. I think I'm gonna put it in very good. Now that I think about it, Salesman. Salesman is a nice card. Actually, I like this. You might you might not recognize this card. This card says it's like Prohibition, but better, because applies also on the cards on the board. So you call a card, and it's a normal spell, first of all. You call the name of a card, and your opponent cannot use the effect of the card for the rest of the turn after this card's resolved, so it can chain it. But it's usually... it's mostly used as a bait. So I was theorizing to play this card in Despia, in Branded Despia, because you can use this card going second in order to bait Anomaly Negation, or you can call Ash Blossom. The only downside of this card is the card that you call, you cannot use it for the rest of the duel. But it's so flexible, because you can use it to bait interaction and also to call an HandTrap. If your engine already deals with the board that your opponent put on the board, then you can just call an HandTrap. And I think this card is actually good. I like it. I think I like it a lot, actually. I think it makes a lot of sense. I would say this card is... I mean, it is bottom very good, because not every deck can afford it. And also I don't see, like... I cannot see people playing this card. Like, it has... You need to have a very specific strategy, siding pattern in order to play a card like this. But I liked it. Like, I played this card and this card popped off. Like, trust me, at least try it, and you will see why I recognize this card as very good. Especially if you can read game states. This card is very, very valuable, because you can actually read what your opponent has in hand after a certain point, after a certain amount of turns, or if you go into a grind game, or the way your opponent plays, you can actually recognize which card your opponent has in hand, and you can call it in order to prevent your opponent to interrupt with you. So I actually like this card. Santa Claus is worse than a Kaiju. I don't see why you would play this card over a Kaiju. Slumber is the same reason of Dark Hole. I actually don't like this card. Super Poly is very, very good. It is very good because works against also Sprite. It is very good against any variant of Runic with Sprite or with Naturia. The only issue about this card is mostly about the space in the extra deck. Like, you actually need space in the extra deck to run a card like this. It's actually, you know. Triple Tactical Talent. It is a very good card. There is nothing to say about this. Also because, again, there are people that play a lot of HandTraps. There are people that split HandTraps and board breaker. There are people that play only board breakers. So if you are trying to main deck a card like this, I would say it's sometimes good. If you're trying to side a card like this, then I would say it's very good. So it depends what you're gonna do with Triple Tactical Talent. So I would say I'm gonna put it on the bottom of very good, but remember, in my opinion, is sometimes good in the main deck. It is very good in the side deck. Trust, I don't think it's good right now. I think Trust is one of the last cards that you would play. It's probably a one-off in your side deck, like literally a one-off, just to have one more copy of Feather Duster, or you can play double talent and one Trust, because like the flexibility, again, having more flexibility, having one less talent and one more Trust may make the difference. Like, you know, because you can also draw the like going second, you have 6 cards, so the combination of drawing 2 talents, when you can draw 1 talent, 1 Trust, when Trust is also talent, makes, in my opinion, a difference. So, like, if I have to play talent in the side deck and you would play 3, then you can also play 2 talent, 1 Trust, and also Trust can grab cards like Evenly, Trust can add cards like Change of Heart. So, again, I'm gonna put it in very good, but again, it is very specific as a card. You can add different cards with this, but it's a one-off most likely. It's a one-off most likely. I wouldn't even play this card as a 2-off, to be honest with you. Twin Twister, very meh. I really don't like it. Actually, I could also put it as ass, because I really don't like it, especially this format against Runic. Doesn't work as a Eugene. Against decks that have actually a back row strategy like Labyrinth, doesn't work because of the Evenly Sky Prison. Slayer just is not good because of Kashtira. It's just not a good card. The same as Droplet. Like, actually, like, Droplet is... yes, it's only not good against Kashtira, the same reason. But Kashtira being the meta deck doesn't make this card good at all. Raigeki for the same reason of Dark Hole, even though Raigeki is slightly better, so might be on top of the meh. And then True. Now, guys, remember, and I will be deadly serious about this topic, if your opponent activates True Name, you call a judge. Okay? The card is definitely one of the best cards in the format. If they activate True Name against you, you call a judge.